If you're a parent watching your child with autism flap their hands, rock back and forth, make repetitive sounds, you've probably wondered what's really happening. Maybe you've been told that they'll grow out of it, or that we just need to redirect the behaviors. And I get it. As parents, we want to understand what's happening with our kiddos. But what if these movements that what we call stimming are actually your child's brilliant adaptive response to something deeper happening in their nervous system? And what if instead of stopping the movements altogether, these movements are your child's way of telling you what they actually need? And today I want to share what most traditional approaches miss about stimming and why understanding the real root causes could completely transform how you support your child's development and their well-being. But let me tell you about a little girl named Amelia. So, sweet little 7-year-old came into our office with repetitive nodding type movements. Her mom noticed that these movements would intensify whenever Amelia felt overwhelmed at school, nosy environments, social stuff, trying to concentrate. And what struck me the most was how her mom described it. It's like she's trying to shake something loose in her brain. And when she asks her about it, she says it helps her to get rid of the butterflies in her tummy and in her brain. Her pediatrician suggested it might be related to block adenoids. But even after surgery, the movements not only continued, but they actually intensified. And then when medications were recommended as the next step, her mom's intuition kicked in. And there had to be another explanation. And when we examined Amelia, we ran the neurological scans, we discovered what every single provider had missed completely. Her nervous system was stuck in a persistent state of stress. And these movements were actually her body's brilliant attempt to be able to regulate itself. So parents, let's dive deep and let's understand what stimming really is. So think about the last time that you felt really anxious. Maybe you bounced your leg, you tapped your fingers, you twisted your hair. That's actually a form of stimming. And it's something that we all do. And for neurotypical folks, these behaviors might only show up occasionally when we're stressed out or when we're bored or even subconsciously and we don't even recognize it. But for our kiddos with autism or sensory challenges, their nervous systems are often operating at a much higher baseline of stress and sensory input. Stimming isn't just a quirk or behavior to eliminate, it's actually incredibly functional. And research shows that about 80% of adults with autism report that stimming helps reduce their anxiety and provides essential calming effects. It's like their body's built-in regulation tool. So imagine your child's nervous system is a car stuck in high gear. The engine is constantly revving. It's using tons of energy, and the brake pedal isn't working properly. Stimming is like their attempt to manually shift gears when the automatic transmission is not working. So parents, at the core of stimming is something that we call an imbalance within the autonomic nervous system, or the ANS. And so think about your nervous system like a seesaw with two sides. One side's your gas pedal. It's the sympathetic fight or flight side that gets us energized, gets us alert, ready for action and for survival. The other side is your brake pedal. It's the parasympathetic system. It calms us down. It helps to digest our food, sleep, rest, recover, and development. Now, in perfect balance, these systems work together seamlessly, revving up when needed, but calming down when appropriate. But for many children that stim, that seesaw gets stuck with the gas pedal pushed down too hard, too often. The medical term for this is what's called dysautonomia, but I just think of it as being stuck in fight or flight gas pedal mode. So when you're constantly in that high alert state, your body desperately searches for ways to find relief, and stimming becomes that relief valve. Now here's where things get really interesting and where traditional approaches often miss the mark completely. When we look at the neurospinal system, it's the communication highway between our brain and our body. We often find areas of dysfunction or stress stuck on that we call within our office subluxation and neurostructural shifting. This isn't necessarily just about bones being out of place or things not moving correctly. It's about the interruption in communication and the neurological compromise that comes with it. So subluxation reduces something called proprioceptive input. Basically, your brain's awareness of where your body is in space, in place, in time, in relation with the entire environment. Now, this type of sensory input is actually incredibly calming and regulating to our brain and our nervous system. And when this input is reduced, kids instinctively try to create more of it through movement, through stimming. It's like their body is saying, I need more of a specific type of sensory input to be able to feel regulated. And here's something else fascinating that many parents don't realize. Most providers don't talk about it either. Where your child, if they're doing, hand stimming or flapping, where they stim within their visual field. So central vision, peripheral vision, downward gaze, upward gaze. It actually tells us important information about what their nervous system is trying to accomplish. What gaps are they trying to fill? So when children stim in certain parts of the visual field, they're actually trying to stimulate different pathways in the brain through the eyes. So the magnocellular pathway, which processes movement and spatial information, or the parvocellular pathways, which processes detail and color. Stimming in the peripheral vision field, so like hand clapping out here or down below, often activates the magnocellular pathways, which can help turn on the sympathetic system when they need more alertness. But stimming in the central visual field, so like object tracking or focusing in on spinning objects, activates the parvocellular pathways, which can help turn on the parasympathetic system when they need calming and regulating. It's like that your child has intuitively figured out how to activate different parts of their nervous system based off of what they need in that moment. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So how can neurologically focused chiropractic care help with all of this? We're not trying to eliminate stimming altogether. Remember, it's serving an important purpose. Instead, we're addressing the underlying nervous system imbalance that's creating the constant need for the stimming and sensory input in the first place. And here's how the approach helps. First, it's regulating the sensory processing system. So when we identify and correct subluxation, that stress stuck onto the nervous system, especially within the upper neck or upper cervical spine, we help to restore proper sensory processing. This means that your child's brain can better handle incoming sensory information without becoming overwhelmed, reducing that need for constant stimming. The second is by activating our vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is like the master control for the calming brake pedal system. The specific type of care and specific adjustments that we use within the office for these kids helps to activate that vagus nerve, promoting the rest and digest responses that many kids with autism struggle to access. And as the system gets stronger, we often see less stress-driven stimming, along with cool changes in emotional regulation as well as socialization too. And then finally, more improved regulation. So by addressing the root causes of nervous system dysfunction, we help your child develop better self-regulation naturally. This doesn't mean that stimming disappears completely, and that's not even the goal. But instead, we often see stimming become more intentional and less frantic as the nervous system finds better balance. And parents in our office frequently tell us that their child's nervous system becomes more regulated. Not only do stimming patterns change, but they also see improvements in their sleep, their digestion, the emotional regulation, and overall quality of life. And if you're interested and you're ready to understand what your child's body is really trying to tell us through stimming, and you want to explore a gentle, non-invasive, supportive approach to addressing nervous system stress, I invite you to learn more. Check the link within our bio to be able to learn about our approach to stimming, to autism, and nervous system regulation. We're here to help your child's nervous system find the balance that it's been searching for.